Good afternoon. I'm here to talk to you about literature circles. For the next 3 weeks in English class, we'll be engaging in literature circle meetings once a week as we continue our novel study of Walk Two Moons. When we're in the literature circles, the idea is to help you become more independent in exploring your novel and pulling out literary themes. You'll be helping each other and learning from each other in the process. And throughout all the meetings, you will be engaging in academic discussions where you're using the literary terms and vocabulary throughout the course of each meeting. Each group member will have a designated role. The three main roles are discussion director, vocabulary enricher, and literary luminary. Some groups will have 3 members and some will have 4. If your group has a 4th member, that person will be the checker. For each meeting, you will be assigned a role, and then for the next meeting, you will have a different role. So the roles will rotate every meeting. What will we do at each literature circle meeting? Well, it's going to look like this. We'll start with some introductions, just going over the norms, each person's role, and checking in with each other. Then we'll have the actual discussion. This should be the longest part of the literature circle meeting. The vocabulary person will go first, the literary luminary will go next, and the discussion director will go third. If you have a 4th member, the checker will be silently evaluating the entire discussion, so they don't actually need a turn. Next, we'll do self-reflections, which is in your student packet. Each student will do one, and at that point, I'll prompt you all to turn in your work and gather papers for the following meeting. That's when you'll make your plan for the next meeting. You'll discuss the roles, you'll get new worksheets for everybody, and check that you know what the assigned reading will be. In order to prepare for each literature circle meeting, you have to make sure that you have read the assigned reading and that you've completed your student packet as well as your roles worksheet. Then when you come to class, you should be ready to meet and discuss your reading and learn from each other. This is a list of things you should do for your packet. This is also included in page 2 of your purple information packet received in class. When you prepare for a literature circle meeting, you'll be reading the whole section, and then the student packet will include a place to summarize, select vocabulary words, write question and answers, illustrate a favorite quote, and then do a self-reflection. Let's go over each of the roles. The discussion director creates questions to increase comprehension, and you'll be asking a series of 14 questions total. If you look at the roles worksheet for the discussion director, you'll notice that questions 12, 13, and 14 are blank. Those are questions that you will create that start with either a what or a how. These are higher level questionings that will require deeper insight and analysis in order to come across an answer. So please write your own questions for 12, 13, and 14. As the vocabulary enricher, you'll be responsible for finding some new vocabulary words that are either new or unfamiliar to you. Now, if you look at the vocabulary enricher page, the last column says plan. You're not going to plan anything. You are going to find 2 synonyms for the word and fill it into that column. The literary luminary is going to focus on figurative language, focusing on similes, metaphors, hyperboles, and personification. There's a space for 4 examples of figurative language, so I would like you to find 1 example of a simile, 1 example of a metaphor, 1 example of a hyperbole, and 1 example of a personification. If there is a 4th group member, that 4th person will be the checker. The checker will be present in the meeting with everyone else and participating, but they will also be filling out a checker's evaluation, checking that everyone's done their part and evaluate the participation and monitoring the discussion. At the end of each meeting, I'm going to ask you all to get your papers for the following meeting. The papers are in the back in a crate that says student worksheets for literature circles, and these red flags indicate which folders have papers you will need. The weekly student packet is in this one right here, which you can't see the name for because it's covered up, but that's where the student packet is. For Literature Circle number 1, which will take place on Thursday, April 27th for the chapters 1 through 11, I would like you all to prepare a student packet and one roles worksheet since everyone is assigned one role. At the bottom of the student packet, page 2, you'll notice a spot for a teacher question. Here is your teacher question. Copy this down. Based on what you have read so far, what can you infer will be a theme of your novel? Answer this question to the best of your abilities. Here are some examples of some of the student work for page 3, the illustrations caption page. Each of these is discussing a quote from the assigned reading and then an illustration, either a symbolic illustration or a literal one. Here is a discussion of your groups, which you can also find as a screenshot in the assignment itself. Today in class, we introduced literature circles to the whole class, and all the groups got to meet. They introduced themselves to each other, completed the cover sheet of the literature circle packet, the purple one, made decisions about who will have what role, and picked up all the necessary worksheets. If you're absent and you are viewing this, all the packets and worksheets are also available in the Google Classroom assignment where you found this tutorial. Okay, I'm going to skip this. This is something else. This is the actual literature circle. Okay, so that's all I have to share with you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. You can email me a question or you can ask your group members when you see them because they are very excited to have you join them.